The Latte Factor, by David Bach and John David Mann. Introduction. Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill? You're working hard, you're putting in the hours, your legs are burning. But when you look around, you're in the exact same spot you were yesterday. And the day before that. Money comes in, money goes out. You have dreams, big dreams, maybe. Traveling the world, starting your own thing, or maybe just the simple dream of not having that knot of worry in your stomach every time you look at your bank account. But those dreams feel distant. Locked behind a door, and you just don't have the key. This is the quiet struggle for millions of people. And it's the exact place we find the hero of our story today. We're diving into a book that has sold millions of copies, not because it's filled with complex charts or Wall Street jargon, but because it tells a simple story with a secret so powerful it can change the entire trajectory of your life. The book is The Latte Factor, by one of the most trusted financial experts of our time, David Bach. David Bach isn't just an author, he's a financial mentor to tens of millions. He's written 9 consecutive New York Times bestsellers, and his work has been translated into nearly 20 languages. He has a rare gift for taking the intimidating world of money and making it feel simple, human, and achievable. He got this gift, in part, from his grandmother, a woman who started her journey to becoming a millionaire by saving just $1 a week from her job selling wigs at a department store. She taught him that financial freedom isn't about being born rich or getting lucky. It's about small, simple decisions. Today, we're going to walk through the story of the Latte Factor. And I'll make you a promise, by the end of our time together, you will understand the 3 simple secrets to financial freedom. You will see that you don't need a high-paying job to build wealth, and you don't need to be a genius with numbers. Most importantly, you will discover that you are, right now, in this very moment, richer than you think. You already have everything you need to start living the life you've always dreamed of. So, let's begin. Book summary. Our story starts in New York City, with a young woman named Zoey. She's 27, she's smart, and she's good at her job as an editor for a famous travel magazine. She works in the Freedom Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the Western Hemisphere, a place that seems to touch the sky. But Zoey doesn't feel free. She feels trapped. She's living paycheck to paycheck, buried under a mountain of student loans. She shares a cramped apartment in Brooklyn. And here's the irony. She spends her days editing stories about incredible adventures in faraway lands, but she's never even owned a passport. The unofficial song of her life, the refrain that plays in her head over and over, is a simple 4-word phrase: I can't afford it. A trip to Europe? I can't afford it. A place of her own? I can't afford it. Going back to school? I can't afford it. Like so many of us, Zoey believes she has an income problem. The only solution, she thinks, is to get a new job, a high-pressure, high-stress position at a media agency that promises a much bigger salary. It feels like her only way out. But something is nagging at her. A feeling of unease. It starts with a photograph. Every morning, on her way to the train, she stops at a little coffee shop called Helena's. And on the back wall hangs a beautiful, 4-foot-wide photograph of a seaside village in Greece at dawn. It's a place called Mykonos. The morning light is golden, and a small fishing boat is getting ready to head out to sea. There's a magic to it. A quiet energy. A sense of peace and possibility. It's everything her life isn't. She dreams of hanging it on her living room wall, a window to a world she longs for. But when she finally gets close enough to see the price tag, her heart sinks. $1,200. It might as well be $1 million. I can't afford it. This photograph becomes the symbol of her struggle. It represents all the beauty and freedom she feels is just out of her reach. And one day, wrestling with the stress of her financial situation and the decision about the new job, her boss, a wise and perceptive woman named Barbara, gives her some strange advice. She says, "You should talk to Henry." "Henry?" Zoey asks. "The older guy you see in there, in the mornings, making the coffee, that's Henry." Zoey is confused. Talk to the barista about her money problems? What could he possibly say? But her boss insists. "He sees things differently," Barbara says. "Trust me." So, the next morning, Zoey goes into Helena's a little early. She finds Henry standing right in front of the photograph of Mykonos. He's an older man, with a gentle, old-school energy. She strikes up a conversation, telling him how much she loves the print. "I wish I could buy it," she says with a sigh, "but I'm afraid I couldn't afford it." Henry nods, then looks at the double-shot latte in her hand. And he says something that completely confuses her. "If you can afford that latte," he says, gesturing to the photo, "you can afford this photograph." He smiles gently and adds, "Perhaps. You're richer than you think." What an odd thing to say. A latte costs a few dollars. The photograph costs over $1,000. It makes no sense. But this single, strange statement is the beginning of Zoey's education. It's the first thread in unraveling a lifetime of mistaken beliefs about money. Henry invites her to sit with him, and over the next few days, he begins to share what he calls the 3 secrets to financial freedom. The first thing he asks her is a question that stops her in her tracks. He says, "How many hours did you work last week for yourself?" Zoey doesn't know how to answer. She worked all of them, didn't she? Henry pulls out a little notebook and a pencil and sketches a clock face representing an 8-hour workday. From 9 to 11:30, he explains, you're working for the government, paying taxes. From 11:30 to 2, you're working to pay your rent or mortgage. The rest of the afternoon goes to transportation, food, student loans, and credit card bills. At the end of the day, you've paid everyone else. But when did you pay yourself? For most people, the answer is never. And that brings him to the first secret. Secret number 1, pay yourself first. Zoey nods. She's heard the phrase before. It means treating yourself, right? Buying something nice when you get paid? Close, Henry says with a smile. That's what most people think it means. But that's not it. Paying yourself first, he explains, means the very first person who gets paid from your paycheck is you. And you keep that money. You pay yourself the first hour of each day's income. Before you pay your landlord, before you pay the credit card company, before you buy groceries, you take a portion of your income, he suggests about 10%, or the first hour of your day, and you put it away for your future. You invest in yourself. Most people do the exact opposite. They pay everyone else first, and if there's anything left over at the end of the month, maybe they save a little. That's why people can work for 40 years, an average of 90,000 hours in a lifetime, and arrive at retirement with nothing to show for it. They've spent their entire lives building someone else's wealth, but not their own. Then Henry shows her the true magic behind this idea. He pulls out a $5 bill. He asks her, what if you saved just $5 a day? Over a year. That's over $1,800. But what if you put it in an investment account earning an average of 10% interest per year? He starts jotting down numbers. After 5 years, that $5 a day grows to over $11,000. After 10 years, it's over $30,000. And after 40 years? Zoey guesses, maybe $100,000. Henry smiles. Almost 10 times that amount. He turns the notebook around. The number at the bottom is nearly $1 million. backslash $948,611. Zoey is stunned. From just $5 a day. Then he shows her what happens if she invests the equivalent of her first hour of pay each day, about backslash $25. After 40 years, at the same 10% return, the total is over $3 million. It's the miracle of compound interest. A force, Henry says, that some call the most powerful in the universe. It's how wealth is built. Not through lottery wins or big inheritances, but through small, consistent actions that grow exponentially over time. But Zoey has a problem, and it's a problem many of us share. Discipline. She knows herself. She's tried to budget before and failed miserably. How could she possibly have the willpower to do this, week after week, for years? This leads to the second secret. Secret number 2. Don't budget, make it automatic. Henry tells her that budgets don't work for most people. They're like diets. They feel restrictive and they're no fun, so we quit. Relying on willpower is a recipe for failure. The key is to take the decision out of your hands. To build a system that runs by itself. The only solution, he says, is to set up a simple, automatic system that will run in the unseen background. So it takes zero discipline, zero self-control, zero willpower. Just set it up and let it run. This is where things like a 401k retirement plan at work come in. You arrange for your employer to automatically take your pay yourself first money out of your paycheck before you even see it. It goes directly into your retirement account. The rest is deposited into your checking account for you to live on. You can't spend what you don't have in your pocket. It's the same principle the government uses for taxes. They don't trust us to save up and pay a big bill at the end of the year. They take their share automatically from every paycheck. It's the same principle gyms use, automatically charging your account every month. The secret is to use this powerful tool for yourself. Make your savings automatic, and your wealth will build itself without you ever having to think about it. Of course, Zoey has doubts. And she has a friend, Jeffrey, a cynical tech guy who voices all the skeptical thoughts that might be popping into your head right now. 10% returns? Jeffrey scoffs. Those days are over. The system is rigged. The government just takes it all in taxes anyway. And this Henry guy, if he's so smart, why is he still working as a barista in his 70s? These are real questions. But one by one, the answers start to reveal themselves. Her boss, Barbara, pulls her aside and gives her a powerful lecture on what she calls the myths of money. Myth 1. Making more money will make you rich. Barbara explains that for most people, more income just means more spending. Their money problems come from their habits, and those habits don't change just because their income goes up. The solution isn't more money, it's new habits. Myth 2. It takes money to make money. This is the idea that you need a huge pile of cash to start investing. As Henry's chart showed, that's just not true. You can start with $5 a day. It doesn't take a big stake to start, it just takes the decision to start. And the biggest myth of all, especially for women. Myth 3. Someone else will take care of you. The idea that a husband, a financial advisor, or Prince Charming will ride in and secure your future. Barbara is firm. There's no Prince Charming coming with a big bag of cash. You have to be your own Prince Charming, Zoey. Your wealth, just like your health, is completely in your hands. And as for Jeffrey's question about Henry, Zoey gets her answer when she meets two of Henry's friends, a vibrant couple named Baron and Georgia. Baron is a big personality oil man from Texas who lost a fortune before learning Henry's lessons. And Georgia, his sharp and elegant wife, reveals the truth. Henry isn't an employee. He isn't a barista. He owns Helena's Coffee, He started it 30 years ago. In fact, he owns the entire building it's in, and a few others down the street. All the stunning photographs on the walls, they're his. He took them himself on his travels to over 100 countries. Henry is a self-made millionaire, living a life rich with passion and purpose. He just happens to love making coffee and talking to people. This revelation changes everything for Zoey. But there's still one piece missing. Where is this pay-yourself-first money supposed to come from? She's already stretched to the limit. She can't just magically find an extra 10% in her budget. And this, Henry tells her, is where the Latte Factor comes in. He asks her to walk him through her daily spending. She starts with her morning latte and muffin from his shop. Then there's the organic juice she buys mid-morning. The expensive salad at the company cafeteria for lunch. The bottled water. Henry jots it all down on a napkin. Latte, $4.50. Muffin, $2.75. Juice, $7.00. Lunch, $14.00. Bottled water, $1.50. The total for just one day, $29.75. Remember that $25 a day she needed to save to become a multimillionaire? She's spending more than that on little things without even thinking about it. This is the Latte Factor. It's not about the coffee. The latte is just a metaphor. It's about all the small, daily expenses that we don't pay attention to, the things we could easily do without or find cheaper alternatives for. Making coffee at home. Packing a lunch. Drinking water from the tap. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about getting clear on what truly matters to you. It's about redirecting the money you're already spending from little things that don't bring you lasting joy toward your biggest dreams. Zoey finally understands. She is richer than she thinks. The money is already there. She's just been letting it slip through her fingers. But even with this knowledge, there's one final secret, and it's the most important one of all. Because without it, the first two don't matter. Without it, you probably won't do them. Henry asks Zoey, "What about your dreams?" He tells her to think back to a time in her life when she felt flat-out, unbridled joy. She remembers a family trip to Maine when she was 7 years old, standing on a lobster boat, feeling the sea spray on her face. The feeling wasn't just happiness, it was a sense of adventure, of possibility. It was freedom. And in that moment, she realizes what she truly values: freedom, adventure, beauty. This is the third secret. Secret number 3, live rich now. The first two secrets are the how. This is the why. Financial planning isn't about hoarding money for a distant, far-off retirement. It's about funding the life you want to live today. It's about creating dream accounts for the things that bring you alive, whether it's a photography class, a trip to Maine, or a journey around the world. Your dreams are not frivolous. They're like oxygen. Without them, your life suffocates. The point of money is to align your spending with your values, with what brings you that unbridled joy. This is what Henry did. He was an architect in a good job, but it wasn't his passion. So he took what he called a radical sabbatical. He traveled the world taking photographs. He came back, started his coffee shop, and built a life that allowed him to travel for 6 weeks every single year. He didn't wait until he was 65 to live his dreams. He started living them right away. Just as Zoey is processing all of this, her life takes a sharp, painful turn. She gets a call. Her mother has collapsed. It's cancer, and it's terminal. Zoey rushes to be by her side. In the hospital, her mother, frail but with a fierce strength in her eyes, gives her one last piece of advice. For years, she had always told Zoey, "Be happy with what you have." But now, facing the end, she says, "Don't, Z. Don't settle. I don't want to die with regrets. Promise me you won't live half your life. Live it all." This is the final push Zoey needs. She goes back to New York with a new clarity and a new resolve. She turns down the high-paying, high-stress job. She goes to HR and sets up her 401k to automatically pay herself first. She opens 2 new savings accounts online, one for a photography course and one she calls her adventure account, and sets up automatic transfers. She talks to her boss, Barbara, and arranges to take her own radical sabbaticals, 6 weeks off every year to travel and write for the magazine from the road. The story flashes forward 3 years. We see Zoey on a dock in Mykonos, the very place from the photograph. It's her 30th birthday. The morning light is golden. She holds a beautiful camera in her hands, a gift from her friends Baron and Georgia. In those 3 years, her life has transformed. She paid off her credit cards. She and her father bought a small duplex together in Brooklyn. She took that photography course. She's now a contributing columnist for her magazine, sharing her own adventures with the world. She has taken trips to the American Southwest and back to the coast of Maine with her father. And now, she's here, in Greece, living the dream that once seemed impossible. She lifts her camera to her eye, her oculus, as Henry would say. She looks out at the fishing boats and the whitewashed houses. She takes a sip of her coffee, and a single word comes to her lips. Yes. She isn't a millionaire yet, not in dollars. But as she stands there, living a life aligned with her deepest values, a life of freedom, adventure, and beauty, she knows with absolute certainty that she is the richest woman in the world. Commentary. What a beautiful story. And at its heart is a truth so simple, we often overlook it. The journey to financial freedom, to a life lived on your own terms, doesn't start with a lottery win or a stock market windfall. It starts with a $5 latte. The power of this book isn't in some complex financial formula. It's in the shift in perspective. It teaches us that wealth isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. And more than that, it's about why you're keeping it. So many of us are like Zoey at the beginning of the story. We operate on autopilot. We spend unconsciously, dribbling away small amounts of money every day on things that don't really matter to us in the long run. We tell ourselves the story that we can't afford our dreams, when the reality is, we are funding lesser things every single day. What David Bach does so brilliantly is to make the invisible, visible. He holds up that $5 bill and shows us what it can become. He takes the abstract concept of compound interest and makes it tangible, showing how these tiny, seemingly insignificant choices can grow into a fortune over time. But the real genius of the Latte Factor is the third secret: live rich now. This is what elevates the book from a simple savings guide to a philosophy for life. Money is not the goal. Money is the fuel. It's the tool you use to build a life that is truly, deeply, authentically yours. The book asks us the most important questions. What brings you unbridled joy? What are your values? Is the way you spend your time, your energy, and your money aligned with those values? Because if it's not, you're not just wasting money. You're wasting your life. So here is my challenge to you. For just one day, take the Latte Factor challenge. You don't have to change anything you do. Just notice. Carry a small notebook or use an app on your phone, and write down every single dollar you spend. The morning coffee, the snack from the vending machine, the subscription you forgot you had. At the end of the day, look at your list. Circle every expense that wasn't truly necessary, every purchase that didn't align with a deeper value. Add them up, That number, that is your latte factor. That is the power you hold in your hands every single day. Now imagine what could happen if you decided to harness that power. If you chose to pay your future self first. The journey of 1,000 miles, as they say, begins with a single step. For Zoey, it began with a photograph and a cup of coffee. For you, it can begin today. Right now. That was the book summary of The Latte Factor by David Bach and John David Mann. We've touched on the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a photograph of a beautiful meal. The real nourishment, the real flavor, comes from experiencing it yourself. The magic is in the journey you take with Zoey, in the quiet moments where Henry's wisdom clicks into place in your own mind. This summary is your map, to help you see if this is a journey you want to take. If anything we've discussed has sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning a few financial tips, it's an experience that can fundamentally change the way you see your money, your dreams, and your life. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to continue exploring the ideas within the world's most impactful books, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next adventure into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.